Okay, welcome to today's session EC6203 on behavioral modeling. Now, the learning objectives for today's class is we will discuss about continuous and procedural assignment. We have already discussed continuous assignment statements, and we have discussed last class about procedural assignment statements. So, we will see we will correlate this, we will try to find out the difference between this and what are the similarities or dissimilarities. Okay. Then followed by the usual constructs of conditional statements like if else case we will discuss. These constructs are more or less equivalent to C, and there are few extra constructs are there, those also we will discuss, and also after that we will discuss about loop constructs. Okay. So, again you know about for loop, while loop. So, we will see all these things, and mostly we will try to find out as it is from SGL perspective which are loop constructs are synthesizable and which are not. That is where SDL is different from C. In C only we do for simulation, and SDL only for simulation is not useful. So, anyway you whatever code you are writing, it should also be synthesizable. Okay. So, first is about continuous assignment versus procedural assignments. That means, till now whatever we have discussed, in that we have studied about continuous assignment statement by using data flow modeling, which is also called as data flow modeling, and we have discussed various procedural assignment statements out of that, like initial, always, you can use blocking methodology or non blocking methodology. Okay. So, both we have written here. So, if you will see, first is procedural, okay, and second is your continuous. So, as it is procedural, so here like always is we use always, so here there is no always. These are basic differences also, and when you are writing always, we have to have a timing control or we should have a triggering. So, here we are having a sensitivity list where we are doing an event trigger at the rate of b. Okay. So, after that in between begin and end, which is a sequential block, I have written z equal to a, and after that a equal to b, very simple code. Then after that in continuous assignment statement, as there is no always, we have taken all as where, and we are having same a, b, z as the signals. Okay. And as it is a continuous assignment statement without any delay, we have taken like assign z equal to a and assign a equal to b. So, we will just summarize how it works. Okay. So, assume that let us say my A get the new value of B at 10 nanosecond. Okay. Assume that my B has an event at 10 nanosecond. So, if you will see in always block, what is part of my sensitivity list? Only B. Okay. So, B is in between, this is I told many times, this is called as sensitivity list. Okay. So, depending upon this, your always block will start executing. Okay. So, these are the trigger point of execution or starting of execution of always block. Okay. So, in this case if you will assume that my simulation or triggered starts at when B the event happens at 10 nanosecond. Okay. So, how this block will work? So, what will happen? So, B is triggered. So, that means always will start. So, it encounters begin first. So, as it is a sequential block, so first Z will be evaluated. Okay. So, Z will get a value of A. So, whatever A values are there, previous values, that will be assigned to Z. Understood? Then after fully this line is completed, then control will pass from here to here. That means, here A will get equal to the value of B. Now, B has been changed here due to triggering. So, now the new value of B is assigned to A. Okay. So, as here if you will see, I have written like A again assigned to Z, but that statement is prior to your assignment of B to A. So, obviously, Z will not get the new value of B because it is sequential. Okay. If you will tell again always block will go back, at that time if there is another event, then also anyway the B value will never go to Z. Understood? So, now in a similar context, if you will think for continuous assignment statement, assume that here also there is a trigger at B. So, which line will execute? So, as there is a trigger at B, So, these are concurrent process, okay, or concurrent statement, but they are again event triggered. Okay. So, as there is a triggered at B, so B will change its value from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0, A will get a new value of B. Okay. So, now A is changing its new value means A is again triggered or event triggered. So, now again A is triggered means Z will get a new value of A, that is equal to B. The summary is, in procedural assignment statement, if there are only B in the sensitivity list, so there means this block, two blocks will act differently. In continuous assignment statement, as B I am changing, so the B is changing and the new value is assigned to A, and A is also changed, and depending upon that this line will be triggered, okay, and Z also will get the new value of A which is equal to B. So, the result of this is Z is equal to B, okay. But in this case Z is getting the A value and the new value of B is assigned to A after the Z is assigned with the A. So, that means Z is always getting a old value of B, okay. So, this is how, if you write down the continuous and procedural assignment statement, the values will change, means the result may change. So, accordingly each continuous assignment statement can be converted to procedural assignment statement by using always block along with appropriate sensitivity list, and vice versa is possible. So, accordingly you have to write down it. So, see, just two statements are same, but here in this statement if I will put in B, along with B I can take a value of A. So, there is a chance that the value may update, means now the event, if there is event in A also, it will get the value, okay. But in this other case, if you will see, let us say this we have discussed in context with B is changing, okay. So, when B is changing, you are seeing that the result of these two statements are, or two constructs are different, okay. Now, if you will see, if A is changing, let us say assume that A is changing. So, here if A is changing, then first line will execute, the new value of A will go to Z, okay. But here as A is not there in the sensitivity list, so though A will change the value, Z will never get that new value because A is not part of the sensitivity list, okay. So, while writing all these things like procedural statement or continuous assignment statement, you have to be very careful, okay. And each statement in continuous can be converted to procedural or vice versa, it is possible, but appropriately you have to change it. Then these are the basic differences which almost all we know, like procedural assignment statements always occurs inside a always and initial statement, whereas continuous we can write down within the modules like using assign keywords where it is, and here we generally do not use assign keywords, directly you write down y equal to A, but here you have to write y equal to A, assign y equal to A. And continuous assignment statement drives registers, procedural assignment statement drives registers and continuous assignment statements drives nets. And here we use both assignment operators are there, blocking and non-blocking, equal to and less than equal to, whereas in continuous you have to use only equal to. It is a very basic difference, anybody can imagine after reading all these things. And lastly, continuous assignment statement executes concurrently, whereas this execute in a procedure, okay, depending upon the surrounding, because if it is a begin end statement or that have to be taken care, okay. So, if it is sequential block or it is parallel block, so it depends upon the surrounding how the procedural assignment statement will be executing, okay. Again in this case of blocking and non-blocking also, okay. And in this case it is always concurrently it will execute, provided there should be certain event happen. If event not happening, it will not change its values, it will remain, the new value will not be updated, okay. So, this is a summary about continuous and procedural assignment statements. Then coming to conditional statement. So, if you are writing under conditional statement, we are having two things, one is called if else and second is your called case, which already you have done in lab. So, we will see few in detail analysis about that. So, if you are using if else or case statement, it is a mandatory that you have to write it inside a always block, because these all are, and we are reading under behavioral modeling. So, behavioral modeling without initial and always is not existing, it is not possible to write. Okay. So, conditions are means it is if condition is true, then statement 1 will be executed, else if condition 2, again statement 2, or finally you can end only with a else part. This is the syntax for if else. So, it's same thing, if condition is true, then procedural statement will be executed, if this is true, one will be executed. So, if by chance your condition evaluates to 0 x or z, then it will come out of the conditions and it will execute the else branch. Okay. By chance your condition results in 1, then it will execute that part. If it is results in x also, it will come to the x part, it will comes to the else part. So, this is basic thing, that is where C and this differs, else rest all are same. You can take one example, if some condition is sum should be less than 60. If it is true, as there are more than one statement, we are writing a pair of begin and end. So, as it is less than 60, C will be applied to grade, and we can find out the total number of C or finding out the grade C in a class, like that small example. And when it is more than 60, so it will come to this part, because it is again less than 75. So, it is falling under this condition. So, again it will find out the grade B, and then if this is also false, like it is more than that, then it will go to the else part, where they are finding out the grade A. Okay. So, in other another questions arises, like if we are having only situation like if else, then this else will be part of which if. Okay. So, like if you will see if clock, if reset q equal to 0, else q equal to d. So, and again you remember that the conditional expression must always be within a parenthesis. So, this should be there after if to understand ki this is a condition. Okay. So, in this particular example, which if does the last else belong to? Okay. So, it is associated with the else to the associated to the else is associated to the closest if. Okay. So, that means the closest if is this one. So, it will first take like if reset is high q equal to 0, else q equal to d, okay, and at that time clock should be high. So, if only there are few if with else and each if are not having their individual else, then you just associate the last else to the closest if to find out or to understand how this is behaving. Then coming to case statement. A case statement is a multi-way conditional branch. So, it is almost similar type of if else, and you remember if else and case always, like if you will write down a simple code like if s is equal to 1, y equal to a, else y equal to b. So, it is a example of a mux. Okay. So, if else, or if you write down same thing in case also, they always create mux in a after synthesis. So, syntax for if else is like this, you can take case and whatever case condition or expression you can take here, then after that you can individually specify the case items, here we have written, and for that each case items you can specify the procedural statement. So, depending upon the conditions, so that particular procedural, if that condition or case item is true, then that particular procedural statement will be executed. Okay. And you should also have a default case in the last, and default if you will see it is written in a square bracket. So, default is many times also optional. So, why default is there? Default case covers all the values that are not covered by the case items expression. Okay. So, that we will discuss with next example. And here another thing is the case expression and case item expression need not be a constant. Okay. So, that means if you are taking a condition, it should have a capability of changing it. If it is a constant, it can't change itself, then how you will verify for different conditions. So, one example I have taken here, where parameter we have taken like Monday 0, Tuesday 1. So, in similar view Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all Saturday, Sunday, we have taken one associated with one integer called 0 to 6. Then as there are more around it is 6 means it is almost equivalent to 8. So, we have taken 3-bit day, which may create around a set of 0 to 7 3-bit. Then integer pocket money is taken. Okay. So, day is my case. So, this is, you can say like depending upon your day, pocket money will be assigned to some person. Okay. So, case day, this is my here case condition. On that, if it is Tuesday, so this part is your case expression and this is your Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, these are your case item expression. Okay. And after colon you have to write down your procedural statement. So, here we are just doing simple assignments in procedural statement. So, it is written if day is Tuesday, pocket money is 6. That means, if my in input test bench or anywhere day is equal to Tuesday, then pocket money is equal to 6, it is fixed. Then second, it is written if it is Monday comma Wednesday, then pocket money is 2. So, that means, if day has the value of Monday or Wednesday, any of the two are matching in the input like say parameters or test bench, then pocket money will become 2. That means, by using comma you can specify many numbers of case items in a single line. So, if instead of writing the same thing 2 times, you by putting comma you can write in a single line. Okay. And similarly, they have written Friday, Saturday, Sunday in a single line, and if these are the days, then one fellow will get a pocket money which is equal to 1. Okay. Last is your default case. Now, discussing about default, if you will see, I have defined how many parameters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, total I am having 7 parameters here. So, out of 7 parameters, how many I have defined? Tuesday 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, 6 I have specified that during these 6 days, the respective pocket monies are being decided already. So, default now have the part which is not defined in that conditions or case item expressions. Okay. So, which is not defined here? Thursday. So, Thursday that fellow will get pocket money which is equal to 0. Okay. So, it is easy here to understand that there are 7 parameters. So, out of that 6 are given and default should be there. In other case, if you will write down here, like I will write down Thursday pocket money is 0. In that case, if you are not specifying default, then it is correct. Are you getting my point? So, why default is there? Like let us say you just imagine that let us say there is a 32-bit number of input of data, like general microprocessors are nowadays mean 32 bits. Okay. So, 32-bit indicates it has a probable conditions of to the 32-bit input can be happens. Understood? So, here there are 7. So, out of 7, 6 we have defined individually, 1 we put it in default. So, there may be a chance that let assume that there is let us say to the 32 is how much 1024 or more, no it is 65535. Okay. So, if there are let us say assume that 1024 numbers of datas are there, for each conditions you can't specify the data individually. Okay. So, only you can specify for 10, rest can be part of your default. Are you getting my point? So, here there are 7 items, out of 7, 6 you have specified exclusively, another one you are putting in a default case. In same example, if you imagine there are let us say 14 parameters are there. So, only you want to specify 6. So, another 8 has to be specified under default. So, if you are putting default, rest 8 which is not defined, that is coming under that category, and if you are not writing that, simulator will not let you simulate this code. So, that is why default is again mandate here. In this particular case, as there are 7 parameters, and if you will tell I will not write default here, I will write down Thursday THY, and all I have specified exclusively, then simulator will allow it to simulate, because all either you specify or which you are not specifying, that you put under default category, then only simulator will pass the control to simulate it. Understood? And that is syntactically correct. Why simulator is passing? Which because due as per Verilog HDL language reference manual, it is syntactically correct. So, it is passing this. Understood? So, there is this is a very important part of default statement. So, default is highly required. Let us say 2 input data is there. So, 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. Okay. Understood? And assume that I have specified in VHDL there is a data type called bit. In Verilog it is not there. If bit data type I will define, then only we will have a condition of this much only. Okay. And this is a very small set of data. For each data I can put it in case and no need to write a default. But if you imagine in Verilog, there is also a possible of getting a 0x. there is a possibility of getting x0, 1x, x1, these 4 also is there. So, if Verilog means it is again a 4 value logic 0, 1, xz. So, there is a possibility of getting 0z, z0, 1z, z1. So, if you will see Verilog point of view, so you are getting around this many datas, and case will try to find out, not after this also in Verilog, case will try to find out what is the condition for rest of the datas. So, in that case default will help you. Got my point? So, you can't write, because you are also not interested to write for a condition for 0x, you do not require it. So, you put everything by default to default conditions, understood. So, that is where default is very important in case. Next is another case statement is a bit different. What happens if the case expression and case item expressions are of different lengths? This we discussed many times in many contexts in other. So, here it is 3 bit, here it is 4 bit, here it is 5 bit. So, all case expression are made equal to the largest size of any of these expression. That means, here largest size is 5 bit. So, this all should be made at 5 by appending zeros in the left side. That means, it should be 0 0 1 0 0, again 0 0 1 0 0, understood. So, by putting in each case you have to make it as 5 bit, okay. So, that you can do, and here if you will see okay. Now, in this particular example what they have done is they have taken like 3 tick B101, this is left shift 2. So, what it will evaluate? So, if you will do means now this is a expression. So, now we will first evaluate it, then we will see if that condition is met within this or not. First thing is if they are of unequal length, then you try to make it of size which is equal to your largest size of the any of the expression. If once it is done in this particular example, so we will do a left shift. So, if you will do left shift for 3 tick B101 2 times, so it will come like this 10 100, because it will go 101 first once, then second one. So, 2 zeros are appended, okay, in right side now because shifting. So, now this is a condition which is met here, understood. So, now my result is in this particular code, my result is the y is equal to a star b, part of ALU code to understand, okay. And again this case whatever example I have written, it should must be written within always, it is for demonstration we have not written it. Got my point? You make it of largest side, then followed by again if there are certain expression that also you find out and try to see whether it is available. If it is not available here, then it will go to default case as it is not specified. Then next is this is a new thing, do not care in case. So, case allows an exclusive two constructs called as case x and case z. So, these both usages are same, you can use any one, it depends upon you, but syntax is as follows, like let us say m is my condition, case z I have written here, it is not case now. So, what it allows is it allows do not cares, do not cares we can write down in terms of question mark, okay. So, that means let us say in this particular example I am writing 4, here ticks are all missed. So, if I am writing 4 tick B1 do not care means if it is a 4 bit of data, okay, and I am not caring about the last 3 bit, if the MSB is 1, then my data bus 4 bit will get a value of 0, this assignment will happen, understood. So, this shows that in many cases there is a chance that this is a 4 bit, again if you will go for 4 state logic there will be lots of data. So, and all data we do not require any time, always many times, okay. So, there is a chance that we can use at that time case x or case z instead of case, and we can have it like do not care conditions, okay. So, that means I can check if there are few conditions where my MSB is 1, then this statement will be executed irrespective of whatever be the next 3 bits. Similarly, if my first 2 bits are 0 1 irrespective of other 2 of whatever bit of m, then it will be data bus 3 is 0. Similarly, here here it is actually 1, okay. In this case what happens, last bit is do not care, rest 4 bits should be matched, okay. If it is done, then data bus 2 will be 0, and finally this is a condition where all bits should be matched like 0 0. It is to show that you can take all the bit matching or any of the bit matching, rest can be specified as do not care by using question mark. Okay. So, this is about your do not care in case, which is used by using the syntax called case x or case z, both syntaxes are same. Then coming to loop statement, so there are 4 kinds of loop statements are there in behavioral modeling. All this has to be written inside initial or always block, you can't write it independently, it will never work. So, first is your forever loop. So, as the name indicates, it continuously executes the procedural statement. So, sometimes if there is a, I told that one of the synthesis constructs of SDL is that loops are allowed provided it should be a finite number of loop, because just imagine that synthesis is a tool or is like a compiler is a high end tool written whose job is to find out the hardware for a particular code, and that hardware should be part of your library also. That is a library, in that standard cells are there. So, that will be mapped properly for your code. Okay. That is what we discuss about synthesis. Okay. So, now if it is a continuous loop, just imagine what hardware will be used to define a continuous loop, and again continuous loop is also not stable as far as your, it is a unstable system, it will not lead to a stable system. Okay. So, that is why so continuous loop or indefinite loops are not synthesizable. Okay. So, that is why if sometimes you want to stop it, you can use a disable statement, and so that is why you and also the syntax is like this, forever with procedural statement. So, we have used initial, begin and end. Initially what he is doing here, it is also a part of creating a clock. So, initially clock is 0, then you can use 5 time units delay, then the forever will start executing this procedural statement, okay, which is clock equal to not of clock, and your pulse width will be now around 10 time units. So, at 10 time units it will toggle itself. So, that means initially 5 time units, then after that each are 10 time units. Okay. So, it will toggle itself and one clock will be created. So, and again last class we have discussed this 10 also need to be given, else it will also create a indefinite loop. Okay. So, that is also a mandate. So, this is forever. Then coming to repeat loop. So, repeat, the syntax is repeat, loop count, then procedural statement. So, what it will do, it will execute the procedural statement specified number of times. So, repeat has actually various flavors, out of that I have taken 3 examples here how it works. So, again all this thing after telling, if you will not simulate you will never understand. So, telling is one part, doing on own is a different part. So, it executes the procedural statement the specified number of times, like see, if repeat count sum equal to sum plus 10. So, let us say my count is 5. So, that means this statement will be repeated 5 times. Okay. Again it has to be part of your behavioral blocks whatever you have read till now. So, if count is 5, then that many times this will be counted, sum is equal to sum will be, these procedural statements will be counted that many times, repeated that many times. If count is 5, it is 5 times. Okay. And sometimes if loop count expression becomes x or z, then it will be treated as a 0, that means 0 count, means it will 0 repeating factor you can say. So, now last 2 examples here, a repeat count at the rate of positive edge of clock sum equal to sum plus 1. So, this is a bit different. So, what it will do for count times, let us say count is 5. So, here for 5 times it will wait for positive edge of your clock, means if there is a clock 5 times clock will happen positive edge of your clock, after that your sum will become sum plus 1. So, in this way you are also providing a bit delay here. So, these 3 are different in 3 as per 3 different examples, 3 way repeat will work. Okay. The simpler one is the first one. So, actually these others are called as repeat event control. This is repeat loop we have seen na? So, where it is just creating a repeat loop, but these are called as repeat event control. Okay. In the third last case, sum is equal to repeat count at the rate of edge of clocks, then sum plus 1. What it will do? It will first complete the sum plus 1 then it will wait for count times for positive edge of your clock, then finally it will assign it to the sum value. So, sometimes you have to do the simulation to understand this properly. So, this is about repeat construct. Then while loop. So, before starting of while, I can say that while is not synthesizable here. So, as the name indicates, there should be some condition. If the condition is true, then the loop will be executed. Okay. The problem with while is it may creates a infinite loop sometimes. So, what happens, and again conditions are, if it is x and z, again it will be treated as 0, and while is only used for simulation in SDL, maybe in VHDL or Verilog. It does not use in writing efficient coding which are synthesizable. Okay. And conditions are same, if this condition is true, then this line will be executed. The last one is your loop statement is your for loop. This is the loop which mostly we use in C. So, here we will have one initial statement, and there will be certain conditions, and then the what are the steps. Okay. For loops are synthesizable provided you should not have a large number of loops. If there are very large number of loops, sometimes simulation tool denies to synthesize it. Okay. So, finite number of for loops should be there. Okay. So, it will execute or repeat the execution of the statement for a certain number of times. So, that is being specified using this step assignment. So, initial value will be there, like here k equal to 0, and max range you can specify, like if k is equal to 10. So, till 0 is not reached its 10, then k will become k plus 1 and the body will be executed. Okay. So, this has to also be written inside a always block. Okay. And this is synthesizable, but you write a finite for loop. Okay. So, this is all about your looping constructs, and there may be in some class I will discuss again in detail of what are the synthesizable constructs of all these things. Whatever we have read till now means I can say that like data flow modeling, structural modeling, behavioral modeling, gate level modeling, all over in detail from Bhaskar book, and along with these two sites. Xilinx is the sites where we are doing simulation, and ASIC world we are referring for certain codes. Okay. Apart from these two books are there that you can read, but sometimes synthesis constructs of all the whatever we have discussed, that we will discuss. Rest we have with user defined primitives, that is actually not synthesizable, but that we will discuss in some future classes.